This is Toschie from Audrey Horne, and I'm super excited to tell you that on Friday the 12th at 8 p.m., we'll be live on the D-Metal Galaxy YouTube channel, and it's going to be such a blast. If you want to learn anything about heavy metal, if you want to learn about Audrey Horne, if you want to learn about how to dress like Rob Halford at work and get away with it, if you want to learn anything Dio or whatever, join D-Metal Galaxy. They will make sure you'll be fine. See you then, Friday the 12th, 8 p.m. Peace out.
Special guest for tonight is Toschie from Audrey Horne. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
I wanted to ask, like Twin Peaks.
Of course I do. It goes without saying, but I watched it years ago, and I found it pretty fascinating. I love just to reveal how his work is mostly based actually on his conscience, and I found it extremely fascinating. I tried watching it again lately, and it was good, but it was, I don't know, it was kind of like I've seen it. Some things, some books and some movies you can watch over and over again, but Twin Peaks was just like, when I tried to watch it again, I was like, sort of the magic was gone, so to speak. So, but I love the show in the beginning, and I still would regard it as a fucking genius piece of work.
Yeah, like I did try to watch the show as well recently, and it just was a bit odd, a bit weird than it was on the first time when I was watching as a kid and was like fascinated.
Yeah, something just doesn't age well, and sadly, I think Twin Peaks didn't age that well. But that's my opinion.
So how did you choose this name for the band? Tell us the story.
Well, it was basically because I used to be in a band called Sylvia Wayne, which was just a made-up woman's name, and we were four guys who played in that band, and towards the end of that band's career, I started a new band with some other guys, and in the middle of that, I was approached by some of the guys from Audrey Horne, and they had put together like a side project thing, really, because they were playing in bands like D-Ride and Gorgoroth and Enslaved, and they were putting together just a side project for fun, basically. And they approached me because they wanted a singer that wasn't very that came from the whole extreme metal thing, and Sylvia Wayne, which the band that I came from, we were more like a power pop band. We were more influenced by Husker Du, Bob Mould, Sugar, Veruca Salt, that like American noise pop thing. And so, but anyway, they approached me and asked me if I wanted to try out singing for their band. And I knew of the guys, but I didn't know them. I knew the drummer, Kjetil. I knew him a bit, but the other guys I actually didn't know. And so, but I figured, why the hell not? So I agreed to come to a rehearsal with them, and they'd written a couple of songs, and they played them for me, and I was just like, holy fuck, this is good, And so I immediately sort of said that this is good, I want to do this, and I started writing melody lines, and they liked that a lot. So, but anyway, when we talked about a name for the band, we came up with a bunch of like really, really bad names. Because like, you know, when you start a band, nobody really has the backbone to say, I want the band to be called this. So everybody sort of makes funny, stupid names. And I think it was Herbrand, who used to play keyboard back then, and who played keyboard for Enslaved up until recently. He was watching Twin Peaks at the moment, and he came to a rehearsal and he said that, I really liked the fact that you had a woman's name for your previous band, Sylvia Wayne. Maybe we could do something like that. And the other guys were like, yeah, that's not a bad idea. And then he said, well, I've been watching Twin Peaks lately, and I like Audrey Horne. And it was sort of like, I think everyone was just like, it's not like, wow, that's a great name, but it wasn't a bad name either. So everyone was like, yeah, Audrey Horne. So I think it's just started out, let's use that name for now and, you know, see what happens. And then we just sort of never changed it and got stuck with it. So I think it's, but it's the same, like every time we release an album, there's always a huge discussion. What is the album? What would be the name of the album? And if I come up with some ideas, they're like, no, that's not right because it doesn't fit with the music. And I always tell them that, you know what, every album that you say, this album title fits the music. The only reason it fits the music is usually because you relate that name to that music. Like Appetite for Destruction. Okay, it fits with the music. But if you would say that's a perfect name for that album. But if they had come up with a different name, you would probably relate to that name and say that is the perfect name for that album. You know what I mean? So I think today Audrey Horne is something we just associate with our music, and we don't really think about why we decided to call it that. It's just a name. It's like with kids, you decide to call your kid Nick, and then you know, then Nick is Nick, you know. He's not Alan. So
Cool stuff. So Toschie, can you tell me your influences?
Personally, my influences?
Yes.
Oh, my influences are all over the map, really. I'm influenced by all kinds of stuff, by art in general, by...
No, I meant music.
In music? Well,
music,
same thing, all over the map, really. I listen to all kinds of music. My record collection is everything from extreme metal stuff to pop music, 80s pop music. It's got country music, punk music, old school heavy metal. I listen to all kinds of music, and to be honest, I think the music I listen to the least is probably heavy metal, I would say. I listen to a lot of like hard rock stuff. I listen to all kinds of music. What I think music that inspires me can be anything. It's just something that makes me feel something. Music that it can be the sound in the music, or it can be the voice of the singer, or it could be just the pure energy, like some bands I love that I can listen to for one day, and then it can take me 2 weeks until the next time I want to put that album on, because it's just the energy. I need that day. I need that energy, and the next day I don't need that energy. I need something else, you know. So I would say that it's quite impossible to say that what my music influences, because it's really everything. I can go down heavy in a country music for that matter. It's if that album gives me a certain feelings, but in general, I would say the music that influenced me most in Audrey Horne is probably old school hard rock, like Ozzy Osbourne and Motley Crue and Van Halen, Dio, Iron Maiden, whatever, you know. That is probably what I'm most influenced by in Audrey Horne.
So your top 5 bands, you told me some now, so is that it?
Oh, top 5 bands like all time?
Yeah.
Oh, that's hard. I think definitely Kiss and Iron Maiden, because those were the 2 bands that were most important to me growing up. It was like when I discovered Kiss, that was it. That's when I fell in love with rock and roll, because it was crazy. It was like magic and fantasy and everything. So Kiss and Iron Maiden. I would also say that the Police has been a huge influence.
Completely different.
And also, I don't know, of newer bands, I would say Mastodon is one of like newer heavy metal that I really like. I think they do extremely interesting things, and of course, a lot of pop music has influenced me a lot. David Bowie is a huge influence on me. Yeah, maybe that's 5.
Cool.
I don't know.
Yes. Thank you, Toschie. Thank you.
If you ask me tomorrow, I would probably say I would change some of those bands. If you ask me
Okay. No problem.
Oh, let's go from tattooist to being a frontman. So I'm wondering how the journey actually started.
Well, I started music way before I started tattooing, but in many ways they sort of fit really well together, because they sort of speak the same language, if you know what I mean. Except that these days, like every young boy, young girl, old guy, old lady, you know, whether you are an electrician or lumberjack, or if you are CEO of a bank, like everybody gets tattooed these days. So it's kind of some of the mystery or the magic of tattooing has sort of disappeared. But in general, it was the people that got tattooed and the rock and roll people were sort of the same. So I think a lot of the language is the same. But I started out tattooing after I went to the Academy of Arts to study. And after that, I wanted to be an illustrator, and I wanted to do so. I've done a lot of work for other bands, like artwork for albums and T-shirt and stuff like that, and I did all kinds of stuff like that. And then I got tattooed several times, and it didn't occur to me that this was something I could do, but as soon as I sort of realized that, wait a minute, this is really what I wanted. This is perfect for me, because I like to draw stupid stuff, and as a tattoo artist, you get to do a lot of stupid stuff. I mean, I can draw skulls for a living. You know, it's magic. So then I started out tattooing, and I've been doing that for many years now. I've been doing it for I don't know, 18 years now. I think I've been tattooing. Wow. So
quite a time.
For me, that is they fit together perfectly. Also, it's like if you work like as a musician, the kind of musician that we are, the kind of band that we are, we make a living next to the music. We make money from music, but you know, our main income is from other jobs. And some, you know, if I had a regular job, then when I go on tour, I would have to apply for a leave of absence, and I would maybe take out some holiday to do touring like a lot of musicians do, because let's face it, most musicians have to make a living next to the music. But with tattooing, it's sort of like I manage my own time. So if I'm going on tour for 3 or 4 weeks, I just go and cross out in the book and says, for these weeks I'm not here, and then everyone's okay, cool, have a good tour. So it's perfect. Also in that sense, you know.
And what's the stupid thing you have tattooed on someone?
Well, that depends on your definition of stupid, but I've tattooed a lot of stupid stuff. Like most of the stuff that are like stupid, I would say don't do it. It's a bad idea. I get that you think that this is funny for 2 or 3 hours, but then it's not gonna be funny anymore. But there is a lot of like stupid stuff that are sort of brilliant but stupid, and I get to do a lot of that. I don't know what the most stupid thing I've tattooed is. I've tattooed, like I said, a lot of stupid stuff. But people, you know, like the other day, some guy came in and he said, "Hey, I woke up this morning." He's got a lot of tattoos, but he came in and said, "Hey, I woke up this morning and I realized that I need a bumblebee and a UFO." And I was like, you know, of course you need a bumblebee and a UFO. Who doesn't, you know? So then I draw a bumblebee and a UFO, which is what makes my job so great, because like I get to do stupid shit, you know, and have a good laugh and make something that I find interesting and funny, and I get to do it in a way that I can say that this is a good piece of work as well. So but the most stupid thing, I don't know, it's a lot of stupid stuff basically.
Yeah, you can see on the internet some people making weird, stupid tattoos. So yeah, internet is full
It's a lot of. But you sort of, as a tattoo artist, I sort
internet.
of
Some
think
people
that I
make
can
weird.
usually tell what, if this is just like a spur of the moment idea that's gonna that they're gonna regret in a week or two, or if it's a person that, okay, this is stupid, but this is something that I want, and it's not. It's to me, it's not stupid. To me, it's interesting. You know.
Of course. I'm wondering how old you were when you got your first tattoo and what it was.
I'm 49 years old, and I got my first tattoo when I was 20 something. I don't remember, 22 maybe. And the first I got was a I don't know if you can see it. It's hard to tell, but this guy in here, it's hard to. There's a circle there, and this is a body, and that's a head, and it's got 2 arms there, and 2 legs down there, and that was the first, and that was sort of a logo for the band Sylvia Wayne that I mentioned that I was in.
Yeah. Okay.
So, and it's a person that sort of has not, his head is not stuck to his body, and his feet are not stuck to the rest of his body, and which it was an artist that drew it and said that that's how he saw us guys in a band as one. He said that we were sort of our heads were not in the right place all the time, and we were a bit too energetic for our own good and everything. And I tattooed it, and I remember the first reaction. I came into a cafe or something, and that was the only tattoo I had, so it was quite visible. And this lady standing next to me looked at my arm and she said, "Why do you have a French fry tattooed on your arm?" And I was so disappointed. I was like, "It's not a French fry, it's a logo. Go away."
Wow. And have you ever counted how many tattoos you have now to this day?
No, actually, I haven't. And sometimes people ask me, and I say, I don't know. I probably could count it, but they sort of blend into each other. So I just go like one.
Full tattoo.
One tattoo.
Yes.
I can count mine is just 1 and 2, so simple.
Yeah.
Cool. See, tell me what the weirdest place that someone asked you to have a tattoo.
I think I tattooed most parts on a body. But I think I don't tattoo much in the face because I don't like it. I see some people with facial tattoos that I like, and I think it looks good on them. But on most people, I think the face is so much of your personality, and once you start fucking with that, it does something. But you know, I've tattooed people on the inside of their lips and underneath their feet, and the only reason to get a tattoo in a place like that is because either you want to be weird or you just want to
hide.
yeah hide it really well, you know.
But this is, I think, painful, eh? In the lips.
Yeah, it is.
Oh. So you do piercings also?
No. I just do tattoos.
No.
So let's go to music, back to Audrey Horne. So Audrey Horne has roots to the extreme, as the co-founders, if I'm correct, were Isdal, Enslaved, and Cato Gorgoroth. And I'm wondering what elements from the extreme are used in Audrey Horne.
I don't think there are elements that you could hear clearly, but I think there are, of course, things that are brought there by, say, Isdal, who plays guitar, who also plays in Enslaved, and he's been a session guitar player for Gorgoroth, and he's played with Abath from Immortal, and I think he's sort of, I think whatever you do, if you come from one background and do something else, you always bring something in there, but it's not necessarily something that you can hear. It's more a mentality of how you write things and the way you play. But I think I don't think there are anything in our music that you could say is an element that you could clearly hear from extreme metal. I think when we started Audrey Horne, when they started Audrey Horne, it was more because all of these people play in black metal bands, but before they started black metal, they grew up listening to bands, like I said, like Deep Purple, Motley Crue, Van Halen, Ozzy Osbourne, Black Sabbath, all of that. So I think when they decided to start Audrey Horne, it was more that they wanted to go back to their original roots and write music that was in that line, and so I think I couldn't really tell you any elements that I think are directly from extreme metal. I think there are more subconscious stuff that comes without you really knowing it.
But you said something about attitude, mentality, and the way they songwrite. So can you name an example what you just experienced with the guys?
Well, it's more like with Isdal, he can focus a lot of atmosphere in a song. He's very focused on the atmosphere in a song, and I think that, you know, in rock and roll, as we play more hard rock and roll, it's not very focused on the atmosphere. It's more focused on groove, and it's more focused on attitude and musicianships, especially like hard rock, and especially in the 80s. You know, everyone, like every guitar player was like brilliant. You know, you couldn't be in a hard rock band if you hadn't been rehearsing for 15 years in your bedroom straight, you know. But in more black metal and extreme metal, they focus a lot more on the atmosphere, like the early Mayhem and Bursum, stuff like that. It's a lot of the focus is on the atmosphere, to make an atmosphere that is dark or scary or whatever. And I think that is something that I often think about when Isdal talks about the atmosphere and the music. That is probably something that he has from his experiences with extreme metal.
Yeah, it's actually an interesting take, because I never considered this before.
No,
Me as well.
I think a lot of, especially the black metal music, is very focused on atmosphere rather than melody lines, or they're not too concerned about melody lines. They're not too concerned about what is a chorus, what is a verse, you know. It's more the atmosphere of the whole thing. But like in rock and roll, it's more like you gotta have your verse, and then you gotta have a chorus, and then you gotta have a guitar solo. It's very more it's a different formula, basically.
Yeah, certainly that makes sense. Now I know why I have strong preference for rock and roll.
Yes. I understand now why I don't listen so much of black metal.
Yes,
Yeah.
if I hear black metal, I'm gone, like out of the room. It's, I think
for melody. Yeah.
With Audrey Horne, any challenges that had to be overcome to keep the sound melodic rock?
No, I think when we started this band, in the beginning we were more focused on the atmosphere. Our first album has a lot more focus on atmosphere, but what happened was